For this video, we're going to take a look at angles of elevation and angles of depression in solving real life problems with trigonometry. So let's take a look at what an angle of elevation is. So elevate, or going up, is an angle that is created in the right triangle by a person looking up at an object. So you have your eyesight here. So if you just look straight forward, that's going to be this horizontal line. Okay, so if you could think of like a laser shooting out of your eye at the horizontal, that's going to be this line. And then as you turn your eyes upward to look up at an object, maybe a bird flying or the top of a building, something like that, that angle of rotating from the horizontal up to the object, that's the angle of elevation. Then an angle of depression or decreasing, that's going to be that you have to look down at an object. So your horizontal, if you just looked straight out from your eye, would be here. And then when you rotate your eye downward to look down at an object, that's going to be your angle of depression. So example 1 says that we have a ski lift rope that runs 346 feet up a mountain. It makes an angle of elevation with 52 degrees with the ground to the bottom of the mountain. Okay, so let's just think about a person here. So we'll just be standing here. And then this person is going to have an angle of 52 degrees with the ground. Okay, so we're just going to be, here's the person, 50, and the ground 52 degrees up. Okay, so we're looking 52 degrees up. And I'm just going to connect this to make the right triangle here. So we've got the angle of elevation here of 52 degrees from the person looking up at the top of the mountain. So this is going to be the ski rope going up the mountain. Okay, so the ski rope runs 346 feet up the mountain. So here's your rope. This is 346 feet. It makes an angle with 52 that we drew, and then with the ground in the bottom of the mountain, how tall is the mountain? So here's the mountain, here's the top of the mountain, so we want to see how tall this is. So then we've got it labeled, so now let's go ahead and determine what function we're going to use for this. So we're in a right triangle with one side given and an angle, so we're going to be using trig. So I'll write out SOHCAHTOA, circle the angle that's given to me, label the sides. So this side here is directly across from the angle, so this is the opposite side. And then this 346 is directly across from the right angle, so this is the hypotenuse. So we are looking at the side that has an H and the side that has an O. So when we go through here, we want the O and the H, so that's going to be a sine function. So we will do sine of the angle equals the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So for this one, we have sine of 52 equals the opposite side, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 346. Since this is a fraction, I'm going to turn this into a fraction and cross multiply, so we can multiply this 346 up and the 1. One thing I probably should have done first is calculate what the sine of 52 is as a decimal. So let's take a look at that. So we'll go to our Delta Math calculator, hit functions, sine of 52, hit enter, and we get 0.7880. So this number here is actually 0.7880. So we're going to multiply the 346 times that. Okay, so 346 times this previous answer. So I'm just going to hit answer and then hit enter, and we get 272.65. So 272.65 equals 1 times x, or just x. So depending on what the problem wants you to round to, this one didn't say, so I'm just going to leave it as 272.65. If we wanted to round to the nearest foot, then we would be at 273 feet, which is probably more likely when we're talking real life. Nobody would probably tell you that a mountain is 272.65 feet tall. They would probably round to the nearest foot. So 273 feet. Second example, we have a penguin sitting on top of an iceberg that's 60 meters above the water. So the iceberg is 60 meters above the water. The angle of depression equals 37 degrees from the penguin to a nearby walrus. Okay, so let's start analyzing this. Okay, so we've got this penguin. So I'm just going to put it here with just a dot. So this can be P. So we've got a penguin, and the penguin has an angle of depression. So remember, the penguin, this is the horizontal out from the penguin's, when the penguin just looks forward. Then the penguin is going to rotate its eyes down 37 degrees to see a walrus. Okay, so then there's a walrus down here. And this angle that the penguin had to rotate its eyes was 37 degrees. And then if you want to close off the right triangle so you can see the actual right triangle here, we would do that. And then it says, what is the horizontal distance between the penguin and the walrus? So horizontal is this flat line right here. Okay, so this flat line is what we're looking for. And then we need one more measurement. So this iceberg, okay, how far above the water was the iceberg? So that's actually this right here, right? So this walrus is kind of sitting in the water. And here's the iceberg. So this length right here is 60. This is going to be the exact same as this length right here, 60. So if I want to just draw it over in my triangle that I created over here, this vertical distance would be the same as this one. So now we're ready to decide what function we need to use. So we have SOHCAHTOA. The angle is the 37. Directly across from that is the opposite side, which is the 60. Across from the 90 is the hypotenuse that doesn't have anything on it. And next to the angle is the adjacent, which is the side that we are trying to find. So we are looking for the A and the O. So we'll go through here and look for an A and an O and find out that that is in TOA, which is the tangent function. So we'll do tangent of the angle equals the opposite over the adjacent. So tangent of the 37 degree angle equals the opposite side, which is 60, over the adjacent side, which is X. So let's go ahead and determine tangent of 37 first. So tangent 37 is 0.7535 equals 60 over X. So this is a fraction, so we'll make this into a fraction and then cross multiply. So on the left here we get X times this decimal, so 0.7535X equals 1 times 60, which is just 60. Then we need to get X by itself, so we'll divide by this decimal to both sides, because 0.7535 divided by 0.7535 is just 1X. Okay, so just X. And then we'll do 60 divided by that decimal in our calculator. So we'll type in 60. That tangent of 37 is still my answer. It's in my previous one, so I'll do 60 divided by the answer. You're welcome to just type in 0.7535 if you would rather. And then we see 79.62. Okay, so then depending on if the problem told us how to round, which this one didn't, so 79.62, again with this one, probably when you're talking the height of an iceberg, you're probably going to round to the nearest foot. So I would say 80 feet. Was it feet or meters? Meters in this case. So 80 meters.